My name is Scott Anderson. I'm in the band Finger Eleven, and we have a new greatest hits album coming out, and it has the song "Together Right" on it as well.
Beautiful, Scott. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, mate.
That's awesome to be here.
Right, so as you say, Finger 11 will release your first ever greatest hits album on June 17th. So, why is now the right time, do you think, to put out a greatest hits package?
Well, I think we've talked about it for long enough, and you know, we, we hit the right kind of moment to say, all right, what can we agree that these songs could be? Do we have enough legit greatest hits? Can we do this? All right, let's do it. So James got the artwork together, and it finally sort of the ball started rolling, and I'm excited to say we finally pulled the trigger on it.
And what was the actual selection criteria for songs? Was it highest sellers? Was it most popular? Like,
We had to look at the numbers. We didn't want, we had to say, okay, they have to be legit greatest hits. And then we had to figure out the running order, which was, we had to just be happy with that. Okay, if we're listening, does this song flow into this song? They're all different records. So it was trickier than you'd think, but we cared about that process very much. After a long, long, long deliberation, we finally got it right. So we're happy that I think the mostly the biggest songs, as far as most popular, highest charting, whatever. I think those kind of won out for the most part.
and as you mentioned, you've also included a new song called Together Right. So, tell us a bit about that.
Well, I'm glad that it's it's only been released for about 2 weeks, maybe three now, and it's looking to be one of our hits. So
Well, it's in the right place then.
I really that because boy oh boy, that could have been tough. But yeah, it's our newest song, and it's a song about somebody that's in a a tough position. Is in a bad place and is asking for help and support. And they maybe don't deserve that help and support, but they're asking for it anyway. And I kind of play that character that's reaching out, and whoever reaches or whoever holds on is probably gonna go down with me. And so I just thought it was kind of a cool idea for a song, that sounds kind of optimistic in the chorus, but it's really about somebody that's kind of taking advantage of friendships and relationships by kind of saying, "Hey, look, please help me, but I did this to myself, but you're coming with me." It feels fun to sort of kind of play the villain in the song, but it also kind of feels like an optimistic anthem if you're just listening to the chorus, which I like.
So, how does the song represent Finger 11 musically in 2023 then?
Well, we can't just write songs that we used to write back in 2001. I mean, there's the different mindset. There was a lot more angst. There was and I don't like it when established bands keep going back to some sort of well as if they're still 14 years old. And I uh I thought, okay, we're still interested in writing heavy music, so I just knew what I didn't want. I didn't just, and I also was trying to be as optimistic as possible. And I think this new song, it rides that edge. It's aggressive, and it's an interesting. There's a song called "Drag You Down" on off of "Grayest of Blue Skies," and I think lyrically and thematically, I think this song is just a better version of "Drag You Down." Um, so I like that. I think there's kind of an evolution there for me. Um, I think this is Finger Eleven's first song in quite a while, and we had to come back like with a bit of a bang, kind of come out swinging. And I think the song does that. We finished the song, and James and Rick weren't happy with the guitars. They weren't happy with, they didn't sound. I don't think they sounded aggressive enough. I mean, it sounded fine to me. We had mixed, we were ready to master, and James and Rick said, "Okay, stop, stop. We got to go back into the studio." And that was a frustrating moment for me because I thought, okay, well, whatever he did, whatever we do, I probably won't even notice. You're talking about guitar stuff, the kinds of things that make lead singers, just sort of have their eyes sort of glaze over. And I can't what a big difference it was. It was I'm proud to say I heard it. I was like, oh, okay. This sounds much more like a hard rock song now than some sort of, there's much more of a signature. You can tell that James and Rick are playing these parts from start to finish. And it cost time and it cost money, but we cared so much about this song. It was worth the effort, and I'm much more proud of the finished product. So it was nice to have the time and the money to do that. And when it's, I guess, when you're not stuck in the studio, you can make those decisions. But I think it's a really nice. It's tricky because Finger Eleven's been around for a long time. I'm not sure what fans are expecting, but I hope they're happy with this new.
And you've also got a previously unreleased cover of Pink Floyd's Welcome to the Machine on there. So that's a pretty interesting choice.
Well, that's a song we played live for a long time. We would incorporate that into our set. So, I mean, they made it a hit. We didn't. We thought, okay, we took a few stabs at that in the studio and never got it until this version. So I feel like I think fans of the band are going to enjoy it. If they've ever come out to a show, they'll remember that we used that version. And Pink Floyd is just one of our. There's never any argument. Every single member of the band loves Pink Floyd, of course, and just a real trip to try to tackle a song as big as that. And I mean, no other song makes me feel that way. It's a very, very, very ominous, but it's again full of its own strange, dark energy. I do love that song.
So the thing again, the greatest hits album, mate, like gives me the right to ask this question. So could we reflect on your career a little bit here, bro? Like Finger Eleven started back in 1990. So what was the musical climate like back then that gave birth to the band, and where did it fit in initially?
We were in high school, and there was a pretty solid live scene in Burlington, Ontario. There was a place to go. There was an all ages concert. We would play in the afternoons, and it would be 7 bands. They all, like, there were thrash bands and like acoustic based bands and everything in between. There was a scene that I think we really took for granted. But we were just record store rats. We would just go and pick up everything new. There was that was back when it was like Faith No More and Jane's Addiction, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. All these giant bands that were taking over the world. We did pretty well, and we loved those bands. We would try those. We would do these covers and then get kind of tired of that and go, well, can we slip a few of our own in? And that's we just never stopped. We never stopped trying to do that. So now we write more originals and then we try to slip more covers in nowadays. It's just so much fun to do covers still. Yeah. So it was the confidence that only comes with, being that young and being in a band. You do feel kind of invincible. And I had a gas station job, and I was like, well, I'll just work at a gas station until we make it big. We're great. We're such a great, we're the best. Meanwhile, all my friends were in bands, and we were just lucky enough to kind of punch through. And after all these years, we're still around. So I do feel incredibly grateful and lucky to kind of still be here. But a wonderful scene back then that, if I think about it, I am nostalgic for it. It was pretty special.
And is it true that you started life as Rainbow Butt Monkeys?
Oh yes, yes, it was.
Why the hell change that? That is the best band name ever.
I mean, hey, we've got regrets. What are you gonna do? Um, it was our high school band, and our buddy came up with it. He couldn't remember the name of Mandrills, I think, and we were like, that is so funny. We have to call our band Rainbow Butt Monkeys. And there's a record out there. We were signed, and we toured, and we were pretty successful in Canada. It's got a funkier edge to it, but it's pretty heavy still. Like there are fans that really think I don't think we've done anything better than that, and I might argue that a little bit. But the spirit is like, okay, these are the first batch of songs we wrote in a garage, and this is what it is. Um, it's pretty neat. There's yeah, band name aside, it was a pretty fun project, I gotta say.
And was that album Letters from Chutney?
We only got one album, unfortunately.
Yeah. So how would you say that your music has changed then from back in those days to what you're putting out now?
Well, here's what I'll say about the Butt Monkey stuff. Like I said, the spirit of it was really good. Like it was kind of raw, and when we decided to kind of change over to Finger 11, I think we got a little too serious and like a little too rigid, and I think we've come back around now. I think there's a bit of a stronger sense of humor, or like a little bit more, and there's certainly more confidence nowadays. But we've kind of, I think, come out the other side where it's like, yeah, it's okay to sort of um, like this is kind of who we are. We don't really have to prove anything to anyone. You can kind of take it or leave it, but there is kind of that nice stability, or that confidence that comes with maybe having done a few records, where like I'm no longer intimidated by the studio. It's like I have an idea in my head, and I can execute it better than I could, as a teenager, for sure. And I'm willing to kind of fight for my ideas, uh, maybe more eloquently now, instead of kind of roll over. If a producer says, "Oh well, I maybe do this," I might fight back a little more, and I might win a few more arguments. um, but I think the core is still there, where it's like, all right, we first of all need to make ourselves happy. Every single member of this band has to believe in whatever idea we're doing, and if we do, then it's on the record. Whether it's a slow song, if it's a heavy song, whatever it is, and that's kind of, I think that's gotten us through after all these years. That idea, that philosophy.
So you've got your greatest hits album coming out on June the 17th, and what's next for Finger 11 after that?
Well, we got to get our asses in gear and make more music. Um, this reaction has been wonderful with this new single, and I'm really confident about um, some more music. We just need to finish it up. We just need to get in a room and say, okay, let's make this as good as it can be. Like that middle eight that we've been trying to work on, or trying to find something. Let's do it. Let's find it. So that's next. That's what we talk about every single day. And the nice thing is we have a pile of ideas that we believe in. We just got to finish them, and we will, now that we got to light a fire under our ass and get it done.
Very good. All right, Scott. Well, thanks very much for your time today, bro. It's been a pleasure talking with you and taking a trip down memory lane, mate, and look forward to hopefully seeing you out on this side of the world.
And I can't wait. I would love to get down there.